Welcome back to Charlie's Diary, guys. This is Justy, and today we will actually look into the tactics or the explanation of what we see in that tactics window. I hope everybody did well with the event this season, what we had. Okay, so in this tactical window, we have many things such as team mentality, your passing style, your focusing, passing, and so many things. Okay, so today we will be stressing on two things, which is your team mentality and your pressing with respect to team mentality. Okay, in team mentality I'll be focusing only on three, which is your defensive, your normal mentality, and your attacking mentality. We will see all these three with respect to pressing. Alright, so what is this team mentality? See, the way you must understand this mentality is nothing but where you end up in the field, okay? Either when the opponent is having the ball or when you are having the ball. The position where you arrange yourself in the whole pitch is what mentality means. And you have three in this situation, which is your with top 11. I mean, there are only three, okay, which is your defensive mentality, meaning your defending line will be slightly backward, and then your normal mentality, where you are giving preference to more of the midfield, and then you have the attacking mentality. Okay, so that is what mentality means. Now, this can be tricky. Now, if you can choose any mentality for your team, but in order to make that effective, or in order to have that tactic which you apply for your team, for it to be effective, you need to set all the other uh, windows that you see in the tactic window appropriate to what you are implying to apply. Okay, otherwise, it can go terribly wrong. And from what I know and from my personal experience, all these tactics has to be set with respect to your opponent team's playing style or playing behavior. You still need to learn to read your opponent tactics, and then from there you have to set what is best for the play on field. Okay, so we'll see what each mentality is. Now, the first one is your defensive mentality, and what it means is when the opponent is having the ball, okay, your defending line is pushed really backward, okay, which means your whole team is on your own field when the play is begun, okay. That is what is meant by defending mentality. Now, when you switch to normal mentality, the whole team actually shifts more towards the center. Okay, meaning half of your team will be on your own half, and half of your team will be on the opponent's half. So, and you are playing around the midfield mostly. Pushing up your defending line slightly further. Okay, that is what is meant by your normal mentality. Now, coming back to attacking mentality, the whole team is actually pushed up into the opponent's half. Okay, all this, whatever I said, is considered when the opponent is having the ball. Okay, even when you are also having the ball, the play begins like this only, but slightly the defending line is pushed a little further onto your field. That is what the difference is. So, the best way to identify your opponent tactics is when you have the ball. Okay, so coming back to attacking mentality, it is when when almost all the players are shifted to the opponent half. That is when you know that it is an attacking mentality. Okay. Now, for most of this to work properly, your mentality and your pressing should be in tandem with each other. Like I've mentioned many times, pressing is creating a tension with the intention of actually getting the ball back from your opponent. Okay. Now, there are almost four kinds of pressing. You have your low or defensive pressing, you have your midfield pressing, you have a counter pressing, you have high pressing. Okay, but in top 11, you get to see only two kinds of pressing, which is your low or defensive pressing and your high pressing. Sometimes I still have a confusion with high pressing because here I still believe that it is the top half, whereas most of my friends believe it as whole pitch. Okay, so there is a bit of confusion there, but I believe it is actually the top half of your field. Now, when you play with defensive mentality, like I talked to you earlier, almost all your players are on your own half. Okay, so the best method to press while you are playing defensive mentality is to use low pressing, right? So that when the opponent team is actually coming onto your field, you put pressure on them and with the intention of getting back the ball. Okay, suppose you try high pressure, nobody will press while you're playing defending mentality. Okay, now with normal pressure, like we talked earlier, both the field is actually occupied, right? Half of your players are on your own half and the other half is on the opponent's half. So depending on your formation, according to the number of players on your own half or on the opponent's half, you have to choose wisely which pressing mentality you need when you play normal mentality. So it is basically a tactical thing which you have to think of. Okay. Now, with attacking mentality, almost 90% of your players are on your own half. So, I mean, on your opponent's half. So, it is wise to use high pressure because that is that is where the pressure is created, right? So, with every pressure or every mentality you can easily counter it. Okay, now as an example I'll share something like, suppose you are using defensive mentality and your opponent is using attacking mentality. Now the higher chance of an attacking mentality winning is, the probability is very high because the defending opponent, um, defending line is so close to the uh, to the um, to the goal post, right? So there are high chances that he can score very easily. So to actually counter that, you need to shift your mentality to normal, right? And push a few players onto his field, and in turn use higher pressing. So that way you actually create the gap between your goal post and the defending line, so that there is a lot of covering space there left for your opponent to do. Your opponent will have to work hard for that. So likewise, every mentality and every pressing has a counter. You can also press low pressure and you can also counter high pressure, right? There are always tricks for that, and which you are always welcome to write in your comment box, and I'll be happy to answer them. Okay. Also, I'd like to talk about this whole pitch pressing, which is also, some people also tell that as high pressing. But before we talk about that, I want to thank Iceman for helping me with all this tactics and other things. And for those of you who hasn't joined the server yet, I've left a link in the description. You can easily join it. It's a Discord server, which is an app available in both iOS and Android. Also, you can log in via internet. So this whole pitch theory is actually, what it means is, all players in your playing 11 actually press. That is what they say, but I actually refuse that uh, for my personal reasons. Maybe I'm wrong. I could be wrong, but I hope I'm not. Okay. All right. So, all of you, please do subscribe and like and comment if you have any queries. Okay, I'll definitely answer them. And don't forget to press that bell icon if you don't want to miss the next video. As you know, this is the tactics series, so I'll be talking mostly about what is happening in that window that you see there. All right, so that's it, guys. This is Justy signing off from Charlie's Diary. Take care, guys.